I remember being in the KFC once when I was like 14 or 15 and being evangelized by an old person. She didn't order any food. She just started talking to me about Jesus.
So she casually just started taking
Yeah. Did this Christian go too far? This is your daily catch-up.
Boom.
Hey, hello. If you're enjoying the Daily Ketchup podcast, subscribe. And also like this video, hit the notification button.
And clap your feet. Okay, nice. Okay, then the man.
Alrighty. So there was a video on Twitter which was actually taken off TikTok, given like the font, right? The way how the text appeared. But basically it was a video that appeared on like April 15 of a Singaporean man who was basically playing guitar on a flight. And he was singing Christian songs to very, very mixed reactions, I would say. So like there's some people on the plane that were happily, very passionately singing along. And then there was one very clear Caucasian man, right, who looked like he wanted to jump off that plane. Like he was just like, what's going on? He did like the office thing, like he just looked into the camera going like, what? Yeah.
My first reaction was Singaporean.
Yeah.
Like I'm so surprised because I mean maybe like Asians or what, then we tend to be more quiet. I thought these are the kind of things that Ang Mo do.
Yeah.
My first reaction was another Jonathan. Come on lah.
All the Jonathans a bit weird one. Agree.
Got something a little bit.
All can play guitar.
Oh, yeah.
Eh?
That's true.
Not all can sing.
But what was interesting was that the news was covered like all around the world. Like I remember seeing news coverages from like UK newspapers, US newspapers,
Wherever the plane was.
wherever the plane was. But it was so specific. Singaporean man Jonathan Neo evangelizers on plane or that sort of like kind of like headlines, right? Yeah, it really drew a lot of, I think, debate online. To me, from what I read, I think majority of people found it very cringy. I don't know how you guys felt. Like, do you guys think it was okay, or do you guys think like, oh, this is not okay?
I honestly did not hear the video. So was the music good? I'm guessing no based on the reaction. Because if the music, say he sing freaking good, right? I think response will be different. Response will be like, oh my god, this guy can freaking sing, you know? And then everybody will be like, wow, this guy's voice angelic, yeah. Is it because he's closer to heaven, because he's in the skies, or like some cringy shit like that, right? I don't know, it's not his name John, is it? Right? You know?
When I first heard of that, right, I thought it was quite nice. Like, I think we...
He handsome, is it? Then you...
No, I didn't even listen, I didn't even see. But I saw the headlines and all that. I thought like, oh, okay, that's quite nice. Because I think it was a plane to help Ukraine, right? Or something. Like,
It's
Oh, is it?
It was a return.
Returning.
Okay. Yeah, but I felt like, especially in Christianity, right, music brings people together. I think there's some sort of like unity there and all that, you know. So I thought like, oh, that's quite nice to be singing worship songs and all that. But I understand the other side of the...
Yeah, so I think there was a subset of people who, I guess mostly Christians also, who felt like, oh my god, this is really heartwarming, this was really great. And then there were a lot of others that I think someone's reaction was that like, it was a TikTok user and basically described the whole thing as inappropriate and honestly scary.
Scary.
Yeah, because it felt, I guess, imposing, right? Like if you're someone who is not Christian and then suddenly everyone is starting to sing about praises, and then it seems as though they are pressuring you to like listen to like the word of God, like when you didn't ask for it, you know. And so like that was
It's like shoving the religion to your face.
No, to begin with, okay, like based on what you said, you are a Christian, right?
Yeah.
But for the rest of you are also Christian. You are
I'm Catholic. Christian.
Catholic. Okay, I'm not religious. What do you think of the behavior? Like from your standpoint and being a believer or whatever.
I was very conflicted, honestly, when I first saw it. Because in my mind, like same as you, like in my mind, like it's a brave thing to do. Like I would not dare to do something like that. And I like heard stories of my friends like helping to pray for people on the streets and stuff. And I thought that, wow, like is this the so-called level that I should be at? But then at the same time, I'm also not for like shoving my religion down anybody's face. And so then I was like, like especially because it was on a plane. I feel like, right, if it was say maybe like MRT station, then you're at one side. If I really don't want to hear, I just move away lah, right? But then everyone is like kind of trapped on the plane, and the plane ride is already uncomfortable. And then I'm being forced to listen to this.
And singing out loud with an instrument, it's at a point where you cannot ignore or avoid also.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
I actually had a conversation with like some of my church friends, right? And then like most of them said, actually I don't see the problem. Like it wasn't a big news to them. It wasn't a big piece of news to them. And then I said like, but if you had just like put another religion in its place, right? Say for example, like some Buddhists stand up and start chanting, or like I don't know, they start standing up reading like the Quran, or I don't know what is their version of worship songs lah. Then the reaction would have been so different. Yeah, lor. So but in general, I was quite conflicted about it lah.
Yeah, I mean, before we dive into like the different religions one, right? Like, what do you guys think if it wasn't a Christian song? If he was just performing a normal pop song, would that have been weird and inappropriate?
I will ask him to shut the f*** up, yeah.
Right?
Like people fly back from war-torn region, want to go home. You get up and sing.
Yeah.
Like for what? I don't care if it's to lift my spirits. You are assuming where my spirits are at.
That I want to be lifted through your method of like song.
and I think to begin with, right, the TikTok, right, when it was posted, I understand that at the beginning people didn't even know the context of it, that it was a flight back from like, and all these people went there to help Ukraine and whatever. Yeah. And understanding that, people were already kind of like trashing on this guy. Subsequently, once they found out that yes, this was a flight back and these were all people that went to help with the relief efforts in Ukraine and whatnot, somehow that justified his actions a little bit more. I can understand why they might say that, right? But unless the whole group is your church, right?
Yeah.
And everybody is like, yes, I'm down for this. Let's sing for Jesus. I think you need to f*** off, man.
Yeah, it was a public flight at the end of the day. So there's got to be people there who are not Christian and definitely not comfortable with like public performances lah.
I feel like unless right it's the actual artist, like if like Taylor Swift or something, she suddenly stand up and she starts singing or something, I might have been okay with that.
Even then, even then, it's like nobody asked.
You better
like,
sit down swiftly.
Okay, I agree with all this, right? But I think I would be one of those people in the crowd who will sing along.
Yeah, same.
Okay, this is my only point of conflict. I love that song, right? Chris Tomlin, right? How Great Is Our God. I actually genuinely
I know
love
that song.
Right?
Yeah, ex-Christian over here.
Ex-Christian, oh.
But I was just like, this is so inappropriate. But like, just so like, there's a couple of examples, right? You mentioned like, if it's the actual singer, there was this plane in India actually, where an Indian singer decided to give impromptu in-flight entertainment. His own songs, right? He took the PA system and then started performing his own songs. The crew that allowed him to do that all got suspended lah. Yeah.
Shit.
No, but I can understand the like what's going on in this guy's head also. Like he put himself out there. He's not very old, right? He's like
No,
He's a young guy.
young fella. So he's probably like enthusiastic,
Passionate,
very passionate. He's riding that high,
Yeah.
and so in his head he probably figures that yes, this is okay, right? I mean, it's quite sad that this is how he's going to be schooled in front of everybody in public internationally. But I think this is something that a lot of people have to learn, like, and you have to learn it somehow or another one. Like, I mean, I'm sure like when I was younger, so I was riding certain highs, thinking like, oh, the world is my oyster, right? Jesus is by my side, you know, I can do anything. Then after that, then reality kind of hits you a little bit here and there, knocks you up.
Yeah.
Knocks you
down.
Knocks you down. On your side to side.
You're pregnant with life.
yeah. And then you kind of get with the program a bit more, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like this guy just needed that maybe.
Something that I was also thinking about, right? Because a lot of the comments that I saw that I very agree with is time and place. Like there's a time and place for everything, and this is not the time and place for it.
Yeah.
So then,
Yeah.
so then I'm also thinking, because my church actually went on a mission trip, like not to Ukraine directly, but to the beside country. I think it's Hungary, if I'm not wrong.
Okay.
But then so basically they helped the local churches there, like open up their space, convert their space into like a shelter for Ukrainians and refugees to come in lah. So then if in such a position, right, I'm running away from a war-torn country, but I'm not a Christian, but I don't really have a choice, but this is the temporary place to go to.
Place of refuge lah, yeah.
And then over there they are doing such things. Then is that okay?
Oh, actually, you put yourself in that situation, it will be like it's very entitled of me to stop them from singing because I'm enjoying their benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
fair
is
enough.
that okay then?
Wow, I don't think that anybody should be putting somebody else in a place of like there needs to be a trade-off. Obviously, this is not a very at least I'm assuming it's not a very difficult trade-off, right? Like, oh, you feed me, okay, sure. Then I have to listen to your music and get you,
obligated
and you have to
things.
try to like convert me or whatever the fuck, right? If that was the case, okay lah, that sucks lah. But just deal with it lah.
It shouldn't feel transactional also, I guess. Like if you genuinely want to help, there shouldn't be I do this for you, you do this for me kind of situation.
Yeah, and I think a lot of this, and I think the reason why I also feel this way, right, is because evangelism as a subject matter has always been a bit iffy to me. Like I've always felt like the way that evangelism has occurred, at least in my life lah, in my personal experiences, is that there is some form of activity, something that draws people in first, right? Something that's fun or whatever. And then it's only after, then you get the true message and they try to convert you in some sense, right? And I've always felt that like, why is that the process? Because it's exactly the same thing with MLM.
Why you
Wow.
got comparison to?
No,
And
but
she
it
was saying
really
that out,
is. Yeah. So then I keep thinking like, is that right? And honestly, right, like I'm 100% open for talking about this, even though I don't believe in religion, but I believe in questioning and thinking about processes and understanding what is genuine, what is intentional and all this, right? And my brother, he's also like, he worked in a church, right? Okay, like he's given like, I think he's talked about this before, so and it was something that was actually quite deep to him. Like he was questioning like, why do we evangelize and how do we evangelize? Yeah, and it's so nuanced. Like the idea of it is so nuanced. Like you don't just go out and come on, believe in God lah, right? If not what? You die, you go hell. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's so weird that we are still doing it in this way. And I don't know, maybe y'all can share like, have there been like better ways to exercise evangelism? Or is this also an issue that you all struggle with in some sense or another?
I understand why we have evangelism and all that, right? Why we do what we do at the church. But I understand how my non-Christian friends feel, because I've ever had those like really weird encounter before I was Christian, right? So I remember one time when I was in secondary school, and then there's this girl in school, right? She's like senior. She wanted me to come to her church, but then I have very strict parents, and they're not Christians, right, at that time. So they were like, I have curfew and all that, so I don't dare to tell her like I don't want to be cool, so I don't dare to curfew. No, I cannot. But she told me something, right? I think it's part of her sales speech, and it's very weird. She said, "Don't worry, we won't cut off your tongue."
Huh?
What? Now I'm really scared. Why you say that? Why would you say that?
Oh.
Then I got more scared, you know.
Yeah.
Never mind. Please don't call me again. I was really very scared. Yeah. So I think the way they evangelize sometimes is a bit
scary.
A bit scary. I can imagine why people don't.
I mean, there's surely this pressure I feel of evangelism, which I have like shared a bit on. Like, I touched a bit on just now. Like when I look at people like going out there to pray for people, it feels like this is what I should aspire to. But at the same time, I'm uncomfortable with it because I don't like the idea of like just forcing something on someone. Like it's my personal preference, Then whether or not you like it, if you want me to talk about it, you're happy to engage, I'm more than happy to share with you.
Yeah.
But then if it's not asked for, if no one's asking for it, then no lah.
The best way to evangelize, right, from my point of view, right,
It's
is
through your life.
It's true,
Yeah.
but it's by example,
correct.
right?
So when I have a friend or like acquaintance, right, who's facing really big problems, whatever, then I'll tell them like, okay, I'm not trying to like push my religion on you, but I'm just trying to let you know that I want to pray for you, and this is my personal choice lah. But if you want, I can pray out loud for you, and I want you to know that you're not alone lah. Like there's God and all that.
Okay.
Yeah. So that then when you set up that premise, right, the other person will feel like, okay, she's not gonna like force me or like cut my tongue, whatever. Okay. So you know what I
That really
mean, right?
impacted you.
Yeah. I was damn scared that one. Yeah.
Have your churches ever said this before, right? Like next Sunday, bring like
A friend.
one new or
Yeah, always.
quota
Normal.
lah, 3 new friends.
Oh, okay. I don't have quota, but it's like for special weekends, for example, like Easter, Christmas, that kind. They will say, like invite your friends lah. Send. Now it's online also, right? Send the link to someone and like whoever got put in your heart, that kind of thing, lor. But it was never a quota. Though I have had a friend that became like. Okay, I don't know whether the church is a cult or what lah, but the practices, right, is really extreme kind. Like they will track your expenses to see like what kind of activities you're engaging in outside, and like if you're going out for leisure, it ought to be with your cell group people, for example. Yeah, and then like they track like how many people you bring to church, that kind of stuff.
Sounds like a toxic relationship.
Yeah.
Sounds like my ex. No, I'm kidding.
Hey,
Sure
let's
not.
unpack there.
No, but my church also had this like similar program. I can't remember. Don't quote me on this, but I really cannot remember what exactly it was. But I remember the thing was called Light 1000. Hey, Heart of God Church. Hey.
Yeah.
Light 1000, it means that I think by Easter or is it by Christmas, right? We, as a collective effort, right, the whole church, right, will bring at least 1,000 souls.
Yeah.
Right. It's like the 1,000-step challenge lah, but with
Yeah, so what do you think about that? Like, does that make sense? Like, do these numbers make sense? Like, what is the incentive, first of all? And then,
The Bible does have verses on evangelism, but it's kind of like a go out and spread the word. It's never really like specified.
That's exactly
Like
right. So like,
quota.
at least for my understanding of the Catholic Church, right? OG Christians.
Hey,
It's the original one.
okay,
But
fine.
like I think I remember learning about evangelism and catechism or like Sunday school, right? But what I really recalled from it was that it wasn't imposition. It's not like you go out and say, hey, can I talk to you about Jesus? Hey, like, it's really you lead your life by example. And then if people ask you, how do you have your life all together? The reason is God lah. And then maybe they want to find out more. Then like you teach them more about it.
Yeah.
But like personally, I always feel like even like my views on like politics or whatever, like just don't impose on anyone lah. Like
Yep.
if they want to know more about it, then they'll ask lah. Quite similar
Yeah.
to like Denise, which is why it's quite strange. Like sometimes when I remember being in a KFC once when I was like 14 or 15 and being evangelized by an old person. Like she asked me like, hey, the kind like everywhere food, and then say, hey, can I sit next to you, like on the table? And then I think she was like maybe 50 or 60 years old, and then I realized she didn't order any food. She just started talking to me about Jesus.
So she casually just started taking
Yeah.
Jesus provides.
Then the fries never run out.
Oh, then you need filet o fish.
Then she said, and is that a coin piang?
No, so I remember like she sat down, right, then she handed me this card, and then I remember seeing like it was a red color cross with like the name of the church, and then she just started talking about like has anyone talked to you about Jesus before? And I was like, oh, I'm Catholic, I go to church. Then she said, oh, but it's okay, I talked to you about what we teach in our church. Like I think it's very different, and I think I want to save you. Then like I'm like 14 or 15, I'm in a school uniform. Like this doesn't feel right, yeah. And every time I just said like no, like please,
it's not ethical.
I don't want.
Like
want.
they don't back off kind of.
They don't back off. She didn't want to move. I had to leave, but I didn't even start eating it. Like my food just came, so I was like damn conflicted. And I think I just took my stuff and I just walked off.
Hey, there was one point they were going around the HDBs and knocking and asking, right?
Wait, isn't evangelism illegal in Singapore?
Okay, so looking it up, right, regarding evangelism, it is not illegal in Singapore. You can evangelize to anyone, but there are legal limits. So, like, for example, it is...
Like at Newton Food Circus cannot.
When they're eating, no.
Basically, you cannot do anything that's insensitive. You cannot like basically offend another religion. For example, you can't say, "Hey, join my church because your religion sucks" or whatever. There's very clear legal terms that I don't want to get into lah. But you can. It's just a bit technical, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because I remember there was a period of time they were knocking on doors. I was a kid lah, and then my dad was not Christian ma. Then he just like, oh, no.
But do they give you free things? So
No lah, they're not MML.
So I think what was quite interesting was that right after the incident, right, and there was a little bit of backlash. A pastor actually came out. A pastor from 316
Came out? That's not allowed.
came out to comment on the whole situation. He's from the 316 church, which I guess is in reference to the verse
Yeah, John 3:16.
John 3:16, which is
Hey,
for
John-
he
Stone Cold.
who shall not be named.
Oh my god, gonna get
No,
cancelled.
for he so loved the world that he gave his only son so that
yes,
can go
yes.
and do something there. And
Okay,
then after
you.
then you go through some Death Valley or something.
This is where you stop before you.
Yeah, enough already. Enough
Death
already.
Valley is different verse already, but yeah.
Oh shit.
But basically, he came out to defend the Jonathan guy lah, the guy that was playing the guitar, to say that it was an
What, John 360 Jonathan 3 of them Illuminati 360 yeah,
But basically, he said that it's just an expression of faith, and the backlash, right, that Jonathan was receiving is part of an anti-Christian climate. He's basically saying that society today is a little bit anti-Christian.
Wow, do you agree? I do feel like there is that like people scoff at Christians more, I feel nowadays. But based on what I've researched, right, based on like what is an anti-Christian climate. So a Christian climate is basically like they are more traditional in their views. So basically, Repeal 377A can be viewed as an anti-Christian movement, or like the abortion laws, all this kind of stuff. So I'm not sure what he means by the anti-Christian climate in this context. Yeah, but I mean, it sounds like he's just in a sense like playing victim to me.
It sounds as though like why are you guys picking on us the Christians, right? But then to be fair, we talk about Christian privilege also. And why are the Christians getting so much hate on this? It's also, it feels like because Christians are the ones that are evangelizing the most public or the most often.
Right.
in some sense. Going back to the pastor. So Pastor Norman from 316 Church.
Norman.
What's up? Norman.
Norman Bates.
He also said, okay, so he pointed this out. I'm a bit iffy about it, but like he pointed out that if the other plane passengers were uncomfortable, they could have voiced out their disapproval, and Jonathan would have acquiesced.
We have what?
Yes.
I literally just googled the pronunciation of the word.
You cannot call him an acquiesce in today's day and age.
What is an acquiesce?
Acquiesce.
It is a to accept something reluctantly lah. So basically, if someone said, "Hey, don't do it," then he would have
He purposely choose these words.
Yeah.
confused.
The reluctance.
You
there.
cannot convince, confused.
No, but you should always get consent before. Take notes.
Yeah. So the thing is that Jonathan or his like whoever was with him basically asked the pilot, and the pilot was fine with it.
Oh,
but
they asked.
the thing is that the pilot is not the one listening, right?
The
You
pilot
should have-
probably also Christian.
You probably should have asked
The pilot, like,
everybody.
not even flying, he just like, hey.
The whole plane also.
Maybe the pastor was just like, at the end, he was just like, Jonathan, I guess he sneezed but then the writer,
The
the journalist, like, acquiesce. Oh, okay. Reluctantly.
No, but how does one in a group of all the Christians, right?
Like you paise,
Yeah,
is
you
it?
paise. You feel like if you voice out right, you'll be
Yeah.
attacked.
Then everyone will like look judgingly at you,
Yeah.
like you're not okay with
And
Christian
most likely,
song.
you're the socially awkward introverted one, so you won't even dare to raise your voice.
Like the Caucasian guy who was like, "Get me out of here." I think it should have been mentioned though that by me that the missionaries performed only one song. It was between 3 to 4 minutes.
You perform missionary in one song. correct. Then you change. That's the way it goes.
Oh, one song is all I need.
Simple guideline. Oh shit! You complete your mission. Hey.
But I really wonder like what I would have done on if I were a non-Christian, what would I have done on that flight? Like I'd probably just plug in my
Yeah.
earpiece and wait for these 4 minutes to
Probably.
be
You
over.
Jump. If there better be a god.
You say one
If you all believe so much.
Wow, that's exactly what the devil did to Jesus.
What would you have done though to stop him?
If I was on the plane,
Yeah. Would you have stopped him for one, or what would you do?
But keep in mind that when he started, you have no idea how long he's gonna sing for.
Yeah.
if I was
correct.
on the plane, right, honestly, I wouldn't have done anything. Lah.
But you just complain.
Like to me, right, even before he
Maybe I
starts,
go toilet.
I don't even know that he's singing a Christian song. A guy without a guitar, right, in public, it's like, oh god.
Even walking around in public with a guitar in hand is already like douche.
Yeah,
You know?
Yeah.
Then someone his name Jonathan. Double douche already.
I should say that I used to be that guy until I learned not to be that guy. I used to be the guy like go house party, I whip the guitar thinking like, hey guys, yeah, sing along. And I realized how douchey that is.
Yeah, it
like,
really is.
Don't do it.
Honestly, right, I hate live music.
Like
from a musician.
I go to You go to a wow, damn annoying this guy.
Go to his IG.
Hey, people make music one huh?
Hey, Jonathan.
You know,
Go to his YouTube
what I'm
channel,
saying.
guys.
He's not a missionary, he's a DJ.
His
Wait,
YouTube
what?
channel. Got a lot of
Anyway,
originals.
hate live music. It's like I go to a place with my friends to hang out, and then we are trying to have a conversation, and then some guy starts singing, and then like very loudly, and then we have to compete over him. We're not even paying attention to this person, so I actually feel sorry for them. They are trying to sing and play and entertain you, and then everybody's like trying to I cannot hear what my
No, not
friend is
everybody,
saying.
just you.
No, but I see that happening a lot of times.
We should mention that. I mean, I think we do respect live musicians. I
I
think
love live musicians, but
There's
time
a
and place.
time and place for it. Like that's why I like certain places. I think like Timber was one of them where they announced that like look from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. we have this band that's coming up. And you can come for this lah. Like so that you are aware that okay, we're going for dinner. We are going for dinner and live music.
Yeah,
but
and they're really good, and they're there to entertain you also, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Happy to pay for it. It's like mini concerts. And Singapore talent, legit not bad. Yeah. But when you try to do both together in a confined space and the volumes are all off, wow, go away.
yes.
Jump out the plane.
If you want to have a similar experience but without live music, you can go to 18 Chefs. Wow, it's a club, yeah.
The music too
Everybody
loud.
there shouting at each other.
18 Chefs.
Which is why I brought up the Din Tai Fung thing, sorry, but like I recently went to Din Tai Fung for the first time in my life in Singapore.
Hai Di Lao.
Oh yeah. Hai Di Lao, sorry. It's
Hai
got
Di
all
Lao.
3 words Chinese. I confused Chinese food. Okay. So go to Hai Di Lao, right? Then
Hai Di Lao.
Hai
Hai
Di Lao. Yeah. Hai Di Lao.
Hai Di Lao.
Hai Di Lao. Okay, cool. So I go there, and then right, like the moment I sat down, I was like, wow, I understand why people pay this kind of money. It wasn't the free peanut snacks that we fill our bags with. It wasn't the kind service and the drinks that they give us. No! Not the hot towels, not the instructions, not getting the English-speaking waiter to come and serve us because our table there are a few people that don't speak Mandarin.
No.
When you sit down, right? Even the food, fantastic. Or the beef, go for it, you know? Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. It was when you sit down, right, in your booth, you cannot hear a single other person's conversation properly. Like, the acoustics of the place are so well designed, right, that the sound engineering, right, you're isolated within your booth. And that is what makes the experience so freaking good.
You need to say the branch you go to, right? Because the MBS one don't have, the Seletar Mall one don't have, the Vivo one don't have.
I went to Plaza Sing.
Okay.
Wait, is it Plaza Sing one of the first few in Singapore?
Not too sure.
I'm not sure.
Not one of the, I think 313 was one of the first few.
Right.
Yeah.
But really, like I don't like to pay a lot of money for stupid food. Right? Yeah. But I really like that. That was like, wow, icing on the cake for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Speaking of like Christian privilege, I don't know. I just bring it up because I think there's something there that was quite interesting, right? So like, or quite bad actually. There was a Southwest Airlines flight, right, that actually kicked off a Muslim for saying the words Inshallah, which just means God willing in Arabic. You know, and there have been like so many situations like this when it comes to like Islam, right? There were also 4 men who were thrown off American Airlines. Again, there's a theme here
Like,
being in the
just
US.
thrown off.
No lah.
No, kidding.
Was like kicked off the flight lah. They were asked to leave the flight because they looked too Muslim. Yeah.
Wait, so don't even know whether they're actually Muslim?
Just because of how they look. And like
Racist.
there was another case where a professor said like the flight was delayed because his equations apparently raised like terror fear. So like there's clearly a connection between like the religion and like past incidents that had to do with like terrorist case, right? And so then this religion is frowned upon for showing outright like stuff as opposed to like Christianity. And then if you look at like English radio stations, even in Singapore, where all religions listen to, it's not like a particular language, right?
Yep.
There, like during Christmas, there's like Christian songs that are played, and like I remember very clearly, like there was a lyric, right, like Mary's boy child Jesus Christ was born on Christmas Day, and that's a song that plays on the radio. And to me, like that's very public. How come we as Christians are able to do that?
Because you get presents.
Oh, because it's
Christian
commercialized.
privilege.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, but it's like it feels very imposing. I don't know. I've always been very uncomfortable about like songs like that being played on the radio.
Yeah, actually, I like the point that you just brought up, because like, how do you all feel that your holiday, right, of your God and whatever, right, is a marketing gimmick?
Easter also marketing gimmick.
Yeah lah. How do you all feel?
Hey,
about
why
that?
no one make Hari Raya into a marketing gimmick?
Bazaars lor.
Yeah lor.
Oh.
No, but then the bazaars serve a purpose, right?
Yeah.
But your Christmas bullshit, right?
Christmas becomes Santa Claus. You're totally different.
Your every year your special Christmas album by Justin Bieber or whatever, right? Like, how is that? Is that appropriation?
I know it's definitely frowned upon in the Catholic Church. Like, I remember being in like the altar service, right, and we go around caroling to like raise funds, cause we're damn poor. And then like I remember our set list, right, had like very commercial songs like Jingle Bells.
All I want for Christmas is you.
Yeah, All I Want for Christmas is You, right? And we were being told that no, it had to be like Christian songs. It had to be like Hark the Herald Angels Hills, Oh Holy Night, Silent Night, that kind of songs, where it tells the story of Jesus being born.
Right.
No, but I think it's an interesting point that you brought up, and I think it links back to the commercialization of Christianity in general. So because it's become such public, such a norm for all the non-religious people, that it becomes okay. Yeah. So if it were purely religious, it feels to me like if you yourself, you're in the church, you know the meaning of it, then that's enough. So I mean, if I were to put it in a layman term, it's like, people who don't know me, right, however they want to judge me, it doesn't really matter because I know who I am, my friends know who I am, then that's it. So similarly, I think that's how I view Christmas and like Easter, all this.
Right.
And maybe even then, like this normalization of it, maybe if I can put it that way, actually helps off, because then we get this Christian privilege thing that we've talked about.
Yeah, I guess is that as long as the church goers themselves are not being commercialized about the whole situation, then I think it's fine.
And I think it kind of helps because then there's that whole Christmas is so romanticized, you know what I mean?
It is.
Everybody loved that season. Then I mean, win-win for us, in a sense, right? Then we also love it. Then everywhere we get to have things displayed in a sense. be it Jesus or not.
But what it represents is wrong, ma.
But then if you know, like you yourself know the meaning, ma.
Yeah.
Then that's enough. I mean, for me at
Yeah,
least.
but then it still goes back to the question of appropriation, ma. It's appropriation of a religion to sell something else, be it cookies. Then do you all not feel like we should correct that?
But it is not that it's not like I am stifled because of this appropriation, ma. Like, for example, if we look at cultural appropriation, right? When we are taking, for example, like dreadlocks or whatever, then
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking of the same thing actually.
Yeah.
yeah. So then, in a sense, there's a deep-rooted, maybe in a sense, discrimination that has come with it that they want to reclaim and such. Then when we appropriate black culture, for example,
Right.
then I can see the issue with that. But in this sense, I don't see how we are disadvantaged. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. But do you also think it's because Christmas, like say let's just use Christmas as the example, right? The actual Christmas that we celebrate is so far removed from the religious components are so far removed from the actual holiday already. That's why it doesn't matter. Because we are doing things like what, Santa Claus, your fucking reindeers. We are doing
Am
like
I?
No, like those things that are not related to the
Yeah,
actual
yeah.
religion at all. You know what I mean? Yeah. So is it maybe because of that? Like if we were really tied closer to it, then maybe that I feel like there might be an issue.
But is all marketing good marketing though? As in the sense that like it doesn't matter what they're saying about it. If they're marketing it as like Santa Claus, whatever, and then if someone's really interested to go and read up about what the
Yeah.
heck Christmas is, then we get someone who
Plus
learns
points.
about Jesus. Is that a plus point also?
Because like not
Is
all
that the
marketing-
intention?
But maybe it doesn't matter because it eventually converts some level of people, I guess lah. If that's the objective, like, because to flip that question, is all marketing bad marketing? Because I think
Yeah.
sometimes commercialization gets a bad rap
Yeah.
when it doesn't have to be a bad thing.
Interesting. So there might be more Christians after this thing after all,
Maybe.
right?
You never know, like somehow impact them down the road, butterfly effect or what.
Yeah. Or more children, more boys named Jonathan.
You know, he actually had to delete all his socials, like I think because he got bullied.
Oh yeah, except Instagram, he privated.
Which is also, I think, a bit much lah. Like from his point of view, he goes out there, he try to do something good in the world in his point of view, and then he gets flamed for it. And I think
Small
it's a bit too
repercussion. If you place that much value on your social media, then I think that's a problem that he like
No lah, but
anybody
just
should
having
deal
that
with,
much negativity come at you every day is not good for your mental health, ma.
Yeah, and also to protect the people in your social feed, like your families and all that. I just feel like I would just do that. I'll just cancel everything.
Yeah, plus if we go back to what we spoke about at the start, right? It's about being able to understand social situations, right? Like try not to impose yourself on others. With all the hate that he's getting, he may not actually, that may not be the takeaway. To him, it might be that, wow, the anti-Christian sentiment is so strong because it's so overwhelming. And then he may not actually take away the right things, which is,
Right.
let's try to live in a world of multicultural and religiousness. Yeah.
So everybody learn something.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Cool.
Cool.
It'd be quite funny if their takeaway was just Hai Di Lao. Then it's actually a promo for Hai Di Lao though, because
No, then the next one is singing at Hai Di Lao. But you cannot hear me, right? Oh, kena sia. And we're replying the comments.
Let's go.
okay, for today's comments, we are going way back in time. Is Singapore exploiting domestic helpers? It's an episode from 23rd of December 2021. So
Remember.
Jerome Yo said,
Yo.
regarding outsourcing, basic caregiving is bonding time with your child. Feeding and showering are all times for you to build your relationship with your child. And you would want to create good and bad memories. Having a maid would have with the laundry and housekeeping, like cooking. I'm assuming they meant would help with the other stuff like laundry, housekeeping, and cooking. So for the children, you should be fully taking care of the child yourself. What do you think about that?
I agree and disagree. I feel like, I think on the episode, what we said was that we use an example of how someone basically outsources all the negative experiences you have with the child, like changing diapers and all that, and then you can focus on spending nice, good quality time, right? I feel like I wouldn't fault if a parent did that or if a parent did what he's saying lah. I think you both have different ways of parenting. As long as you're there for the good times with your child, as long as you're not an absent parent, I think that's good already.
But I think the interesting part here is talking about making bad memories. So like, is it actually important, right, that you are also involved in these like not so pleasant memories or like parts of your child's childhood?
I think what this guy has brought up is a very idealistic picture of what having a help would look like, and then also having a child and being able to juggle all of that. But realistically, I think it's almost impossible lah. But good lah. You can achieve that, then achieve lor. But if you cannot, then
don't fault those who
bad.
cannot achieve that. It's very hard. It's really very hard, like to be a parent and to also earn money for the family.
yeah. I think the important thing is cherish the time you have with your child.
Like I think at the end of the day, don't be in a situation where you resent having kids in the first place.
Right.
And I think you don't want the bad memories to accumulate to that point.
And there were also people commenting about how like you all are not parents. Get a parent on the show if you want to talk about this. Right?
Also fair enough.
Like you don't need to be
whatever in order to comment on whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next comment is by Ben L, which is not Ben Wong, who always comments L Go.
Hey, there's two of them. There's two Ben Wongs.
Maybe his name is merging with his comment. So it's Ben L. Soon he's going to be L Go.
I just want to say my dad is Benny Wong. It could be him.
Oh.
Then
Probably
he's
not.
going to watch these episodes.
Yes,
So his comment is, to the end of the app, you guys brought up a point that could be used to start another conversation. Are children supposed to be revenue generating?
Yeah.
I'm
Not
so
for me
angry
lah.
at this. No,
Why angry?
I hate this mentality. I really hate the older people's mentality where, I have more children, so the children can take care of me. You know, like it's an investment kind of thing.
But you took care of your children their whole life, ma.
I think back
They
in the
didn't
day
ask for it.
where there was a lot less financial literacy, or even the idea that money is not necessarily the most secure investment, then having the children to take care of you when you're older, sure, like if you're a farmer or whatever the hell, right? But in our first world modern context, no lah. Yeah.
Right.
But I think in some situations it does actually make sense.
Yeah. Like I would want my kid to take care of me physically when I'm old.
Yeah.
But financially, no lah. Like just take care of yourself.
I don't need the one. Just I gave up to you to let you enjoy
Wow.
the world, do your own thing, but don't also rely on me lah. Rely on
Yeah.
So
That's
like,
the point.
Like just do your own thing. Don't need to come back to help me or whatever. Yeah.
I would like to be your child.
But I agree there's a lot to unpack in this subject matter alone. So maybe we'll cover it more in depth in another episode.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this episode of the Daily Ketchup podcast. If you like what you watch, remember to subscribe, like this video, and hit that notification button. We'll see you next one. Also, let us know if you have any thoughts on the episode. We'll respond to them eventually. Bye bye.
Eventually.
Bye.